Hey everybody, welcome to Trade Capital's exclusive analysis. In today's video, we're looking at the natural gas daily chart and what we're looking at in terms of the technical price picture. So overall, nat gas had a pretty crazy session today intraday. There was a lot of money to be made if you were on the short side. So nat gas today obviously had a pretty bullish open, breaking out above the prior day high, which is observed in green here, and then it absolutely just imploded as soon as it hit this 284.10. Price action just went from going green to deeply negative. The sell side pressure today was a very, very wide range, bolstering a range of just over 8.5% to the downside from this high pivot to your low pivot. That was an 8.5 downside range in one single session. Quite extraordinary. Looking on the daily chart, that single downward session actually engulfed a bearish engulfing candle of the previous day. Now, obviously, the previous day was a gap up. So really, when we look at this bearish engulfing, it still didn't take out the gap. So you're still technically holding some bullish price action, but that's a very, very immense candle to the downside. And at this point in time, it's interesting what nat gas is potentially trying to do. There's two scenarios that I believe could unfold. One, we're creating either, this is the bullish scenario, we're creating an inverse head and shoulders. And if you were to come back up and break this neckline, that sets up nat gas to make a very, very powerful move to the upside. But in terms of what I actually think might play out, I actually personally think nat gas is going to go a little bit lower before we actually get that inevitable candle, inevitable bounce to the upper side. So I think nat gas is still going to shake some people out. I had it priced in that at least at the minimum, nat gas was going to retest the daily 200 moving average here in blue. And you can see we just missed that. So if this turns out to be a lower high, which I think it might, has a strong, strong tendency in doing so based off of the sell side day today. If this turns out to be a lower high, I think nat gas is going to break the 200 moving average here and likely test a confluence zone that really, again, correlates with these two trend lines going back to your 2018 pivot high and your 2020 cycle low. So this is your cycle high, cycle low. So you use those cycle high pivots, run them through major intersection points. This was a magnificent bounce to all-time highs. Here you had a gap down sell-off. Again, here you had a little bit of a failed attempt at a breakout, which took you back lower. So sometime in this vicinity, inside of these two trend lines, I think at minimum, we're going to test the lower boundary range. And then obviously if things get a little bit nasty, you could even go as low as 230 on the weekly chart basis of nat gas. Now, the important thing, again, I'm paying attention to, you look at AR still managing to hold kind of steady price action in this upper range, EQT as well, seeing a little bit of sell side pressure today off of the downside pressure in nat gas, but weekly charts still showing poise and looking like it wants to trend higher. So some of these names are certainly looking like they're trying to continue their trend, and I do think that a lot of these resource stocks can continue. Considering the decline that we've seen in the commodity-based sector, looking at DBC, there's been a very, very relative strength-based bid in some of these resource stocks, which I think in the nat gas space is something important to recognize. I do think that they can go a little bit lower, but for ultimately with the downward price action in nat gas recently, these stocks have been holding up well. Hopefully everybody's enjoyed this analysis. Please give this video a like down below, and we'll see you on the charts a little bit later.